It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Elijah, Nima, Akashat, Zibiri, how are you doing?
Fine. Yes, the highlight was Banga and Starch. Called CBC.
Oh my goodness.
So late.
You went to our house?
I went to our shop.
Oh, what did you do in the house and our shop?
No, because, you know, I eat starch, but not everybody gets the texture of starch. The way I was raised eating it at my friend's house. So if I taste it and it's not... But this one, you get torn starch, you get time. I had the oil
I've
balance.
eaten starch once in my life.
It's such a nice...
And it was as a child, when I had a neighbor, she's from that side. So she made it once, since that time to now.
No, you should
I've
eat
never...
starch.
I just know of it.
Even the banga was banga.
I've never tasted it.
Most people think they do banga, then they do pepper soup. It's not really banga. So, but this one...
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Reminded me of Delta.
BC, right? I
don't think BC will make it like this, because we bought this one. BC...
You know how you see starch?
The taste now.
I can't... Is it the same?
It's the same starch.
It's the same starch, but with palm oil and a lot of...
the same starch.
I can't reconcile eating that.
Yeah. I've eaten several times.
And it's very good.
How you doing, Tokwe?
I'm good.
And nobody's new birthday today.
Hey, today is essay on
I know you always have somebody's birthday.
Whatever, because they've given her an agency now. Adenike Oyetunde.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Happy birthday, Adenike.
Okay, we want any birthday. You always have birthday.
Well, you know, today I just want the BC to make her own banga and start to test whether it's
How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good. So this morning I climbed on the scale after saying several affirmations that I am not the number. This is just a reflection of me temporarily. After saying all the affirmation, I climbed on the stage and it wasn't bad. I was like, I went to Benin and I was like, oh, I don't think it's, I took it, I was careful, you know, but I was still worried because I didn't follow my meal schedule. So I was in Benin, I saw the campaign, the man with Sabi, Aiyedatiwa everywhere, and the campaign was seeing the reflection around the states, definitely for him, so I'm not going to hide it. This one is one campaign that I am carrying the matter personal.
Well, are you wearing uniform and everything?
I've ordered for my shirts to come. I'm going to wear the shirt. I'm openly campaigning for him. There's evidence in the past, and I'm hoping that he's able to deliver in Ondo State. And if he sees that people are holding him out, cheering him on, then maybe he will be able to see positive change.
Fantastic. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
I love your dress, actually.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Something I could wear.
Yes, I think so too. I love your whole ensemble today as well.
I'm just trying, Jerry. I saw my shoes. Interesting fabric.
Yeah. Yes, we know.
Yeah,
You've
many years.
abandoned them for a while.
Yeah, but I just found
With
this
outfit.
perfect. I mean, I've not been able to wear these shoes in like years, like 2 or 3 years. I just got like, you know, you fit today. I'm wearing it today, so I'm really happy for the shoes. How are you doing? Anything happening?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, so tomorrow I have a book reading, and after I have an event at the NCF, so that's what I will talk about it more after. And so tomorrow I'll be busy. Yes.
What's up?
I was supposed to do,
What's up?
What's
With
up?
our
I was
MD.
supposed to do my media thing yesterday. I was just so swamped. Yesterday I was totally swamped. I was going to my live,
Instagram
live. I want to resume. I've not been selling my books. I want to start selling.
Yeah.
Pay attention.
And usually
There's one thing to write it, and
Yeah.
another thing
Nothing
to
to
sell
sell
it.
people will forget
Yeah.
after a while.
So I want to, and I also want to give away gift
But you
books.
can also bring back the previous videos. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Just repost them, those videos of the book reading. Bring all of them back and schedule them.
Exactly.
That would, instead of you
A
doing...
new video, but I want to give out books this
Yeah, especially the
international
period of
Women's Month. Yeah.
celebrating.
Okay, let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll look at the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Government takes minimum wage talks to Nigerians in zones. CBM slashes customs forex duty rate. Ondo varsity workers disrupt convocation. Why telcos barred 40 million telephone lines. Akeredolu's wife blasts in-law for backing Aiyedatiwa. Police to arraign 15 for Abuja warehouse looting. Transcorp Power hit 2 trillion naira on listing rally. And tearful Dangote immortalizes Ugwe. Okay. Which story are we starting
Okay, I'll
with?
start with telcos. So it's been reported that no fewer than 40 million telephone subscribers have been barred from receiving or making calls. NCC, that's the Nigerian Communications Commission, and then we also have mobile network operators are explaining the reason why. So they say that if we remember, the NCC had given a deadline for, lines and BVNs to be linked properly on, that was they gave in December 2023, they gave a February 28th deadline. And so the deadline came and passed, and many of the numbers were found not to have been linked to their NIN nor their BVN. So they're saying that for some of them there were some irregularities when they were registering for their NIN, or their BVN. So some would use like their first name, a different first name for registration for one, and then use the first name as last name for registration for another. So many of those irregularities. They said, but what they have to do now is go and physically change those. That eventually it may it's something that we'll be able to do virtually, but now you have to physically go to these different offices and make sure you regularize that. And so, but 40 million Nigerians, were they all irregularities? There's some that were, just on the part of the banks as well, and the mobile operators themselves. Like, 40 million is just such a huge number.
I'm sure people's second numbers, third numbers, because I have a third number too that was probably...
But you can link it.
But I didn't want to anymore. I dashed them. It's fine. Let me take the major headlines. So, ongoing talks on the new national minimum wage will take a break from the boardroom to the states and regions. So what the federal government is doing is they're taking away that conversation from Abuja to all the various zones. According to the report here, 6 cities across the geopolitical zones will host discussions to enable Nigerians from all walks of life to contribute to the proposal. So they're going to be in Yola, Northeast, Kano, Northwest, Abuja, Central, Uyo, South, Enugu, Southeast, and Lagos, Southwest. So the Ministry of Finance said yesterday that the essence of the meeting is to gather diverse perspectives and recommendations. They also said that in Southwest, the meeting is supposed to be chaired by the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, and others who are expected to be there are labor union, business leaders, government officials, even the Minister of, I think there's another minister to be there, of State of Labor and Employment in Kiruka, Onye Georgia would also be there. And there'll be representatives from TUC, NLC, private companies, medium enterprises, manufacturers association. I think it's a good idea to expand the conversation. So some are proposing 200,000. Remember, there was time Labour was proposing ~1 million or something like that. But either way...
so the debates between what is a living wage, what is a minimum wage, and all that.
So hopefully with this conversation, things can
Yes, I have the Ondo State story. So the widow of the late governor of Ondo State, I think she's very bitter. This is very sensitive for me to take, but she took to Facebook. Yes, I said it like I said it. She took to Facebook to address the niece to her husband, who was former deputy chief protocol to the late governor, who had a picture of her with a face cap written on it, "I am lucky," showing support for the present governor and his ambition to become governor full-time, for his own full term. And she says, "Behold the face of Aketi's niece, Funke Akeredolu Aruna, the former deputy chief protocol to Aketi, shamelessly parades as I am lucky. Bloody serpent. Time will tell if she's truly lucky."
That's
now,
a hot topic.
Very hot.
I think it's a hot topic. Let's slow it down. It might be a hot
I think so.
So, but
When I saw it, I was like...
this is mourning. Yeah. She's in grief.
Yeah.
And she should separate it all.
Okay.
I guess people...
They're different levels, but let me take another story.
Yeah, so I'm taking the CBN. I've been following up on the import duty story. I think last week, 2 weeks ago, it was raised to 1,600 plus. That's 1,630 as the pegged rate for import duties, but the CBN reviewed it downward, said that because there's been a relative stability in the foreign exchange, and so it's now pegged at 1,544 naira to a dollar, which represents a 5.3% decrease. As at Friday, it was 1,600. Today is 1,544. And they're saying that because of the volatility, there's going to be regular changes like that. But on the platform, as of yesterday, it was reading 1,544. So I'm excited that they're reflecting, they're not slow in reflecting the changes within the economy. And I will see what the protest was very loud when they increased it to 1,600. But right now, there was no comment from the importers that have complained then that it's been reviewed downwards. Let's appreciate effort when it's done.
Moving on to the Punch. OPS warns of shutdown as hoodlums loot more trucks. I think that's organized private sector. Banks involved in 70% of financial crime, says EFCC. Ooh, that's a lot. NSCDC Tompolo men raise Ondo oil thieves hideout. SIM and NIN, NCC defense blocking of phone lines. Lawyer slams 10 billion naira suit. Africa Development Bank plans $2.7 billion budget agri loans for Nigeria. Dangote names refinery road after Wigwe. And approach Zimbabwe for solution to inflation, Obasanjo tells federal government. All right.
Yes, I have banks involved in 70% of financial crimes. The EFCC chairman says at the annual retreat and general meeting of Association of Chief Audit Executives of Banks in Nigeria. So this is a retreat that they have annually. The EFCC chairman was there, and he pointed out that the banking sector was increasingly becoming a cesspool of fraudulent activities. And this has been raising considerable challenges and concerns to the Commission. He explained it in two ways. He says this fraud that happens, he talked about the outsider-related one and the insider-related ones. So he said that the outside-related ones include maybe hacking, ATM fraud, conspiracy, among others. And then the insider-related ones, he said that comprise of outright selling of customers' deposits, authorizing loan facilities, forgery, and several other kinds of unhealthy criminal practices. Then he says, then there's what happens where you now have the inside and the outside merging. That's a collaboration of criminals inside and outside. He says, and that is such a, it's a disgrace that we have that right now in our banking sector. And so he was calling the body ACAEBIN to do everything that they can, to do their part, which is make sure that they do proper reconciliation of accounts every month in accordance with the accounting requirements. And then the chairman of the body also said that, the retreat is a time for self-reflection. They understand the responsibility upon them, and they're going to do everything to make sure that, they sanitize the banking sector.
Okay, let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to move on now to the Punch. We're still on Punch.
Yes, we're still in.
Go ahead.
Yes, I have the major
headline.
So, organized private sector across board, small, medium-scale businesses, Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, across board are all, decrying this situation of attacks on warehouses and trucks of goods traveling across the country. So they are saying that this is, going to result in businesses shutting down. And there are some foreign investors who don't even know how to deal with the continuous attack on their goods traveling down to, base. Also, we know the Punch took inventory of all these various attacks that have happened the past weeks, and they also confirmed that 15 suspects have been arrested in connection to the warehouse attack in Abuja. And the IG, according to one of the papers, but in the Punch is the FCT's special advisor on media to the FCT minister who says that warehouses within Abuja now will now be reinforced with police, and they'll be protected.
These are private businesses. These are private businesses.
But the private organizers are asking government to do something. It's already hard to do business, but if there's no security for their goods, of course, they may have to close business.
Yeah. Okay, so the African Development Bank Board of Directors has approved $134 million for Nigeria to implement an emergency food production plan. This was said by the president of the African Development Bank, Mr. Anyanwu-Akeredolu. According to him, they are also having talks about a $1.7 billion economic and budget support loan, as well as the launch of a $1 billion agro-industrial processes in 28 states. So these are interventions following all the food crisis we've been having in Nigeria. So Additional made the disclosures during an interview with journalists in Lagos on Monday. The development came amid the biting food strategy. We've said that earlier. So this is part of the interventions we need. Hopefully, we don't know the timelines to when these things will be materialized so that to help our...
But our former president is asking that we seek advice from Zimbabwe. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo was speaking at his 87th birthday symposium, which was organized by the Center for Human Security and Dialogue in collaboration with the Institute for African Culture and International Understanding. It took place at the Presidential Library, and he said that the inflation we're grappling with, officially we're at 29.9%. There's been several protests across the country on how the cost of living is high and people are struggling, and that Zimbabwe has gone through this in very recent times, that even if we don't want to follow Zimbabwe's template, let us ask that if we find out from Zimbabwe what they did, we can then choose to navigate our way out, but it gives us more options on how to go about it. Well, if it's someone that has been the president for Nigeria twice and is 87 is speaking, I think that the government should listen. In the minimum way, let's just know, okay, this is what Zimbabwe's template is. To Zimbabwe, or they will say, we've spoken to them already, this is what they did, we are doing this or we're not doing this.
So, and again,
let's let them carry us along.
That's advice.
Vanguard. Thing is in my head, I don't want to say it out.
Don't say it.
Corporate Nigeria shuts down Lagos for Wigwe. Electricity discos reject 753 megawatts despite federal government's pressure. MPR Obaseki for CBN warns of tougher times ahead. Why SIMs previously linked to NIN were barred. And Edo Guba, INEC opens candidate nomination portal. Okay, which story?
I have the major headline. Yesterday was the night of tribute, or, the event, how did they put it? Is it Wake Keep or something? But the nation captures the night of tributes. Night of tributes is what the Vanguard captured this as.
Yes.
And, we had, of course, friends and allies of the late MD CEO of Access Bank in attendance to honor him. And Dangote's speech was most touching because he broke down. It was teary when he described how loyal and supportive Wigwe was. He called him a mentee. He called him a friend, a supporter. He said he's been so instrumental to his own family and his business, and he cherishes the warm friendship that they shared. And he also disclosed that he will name the road linking to the refinery after him. In attendance also was the African Development Bank President, additional, and the Minister for Finance, governors of Lagos and Ogun, and they all had some laudable things to say about the late MD CEO.
Really, really sad. May he so rest in peace. I think also the other person that died too, the Gubajo too, he also had his own service of songs almost around.
Yes, he did that. That was last week.
Yeah, that was last week. Really, really painful. Okay, so another story in Vanguard.
Yeah, the story of our energy. The discos have rejected 753 megawatts. And the reason for that is, they said, despite the fact that the government has begged them to take up all the power available, they only took 3,265 out of the over 4,000 that was available, despite pressure from the federal government, so that they can improve supply. The distribution, they now listed each of the distribution companies and what each of them took and what was left over. And they said there's been a marginal improvement in power. Obviously, in the past few weeks, it was really, really bad. Our production was very low, but last week, this week, every day, there's been constant over 4,000 megawatts. They said 20 power grids were up and running, and 20 power grids were up and running.
What do you wear?
But it's obvious the reason the discos are not collecting is because they don't want to owe the money. So they will only take what they are sure consumers are going to pay for, or consumers, the rate with which they are sure would be used. So I think that there needs to be more conversation between them. The federal government says that Nigerians are denied good life, that they're denied a good quality of life. That's from the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, who spoke on the fact that there was excess power that was not taken up, but that were denying Nigerians good quality of life. And obviously, many people are suffering on a huge scale because they can't store their food, there's no power, the weather is hot, and it's just
horrible situation. Yeah. Anything else on Vanguard? Should we move on? Yeah. Okay. The Nigerian Tribune. Obaseki warns of tougher times ahead. Average retail price for refilling 5 kg cooking gas hits over 5,000 naira, says NBS. Ukraine's grain donation to Nigeria disheartening, says Obi. Oyo health workers begin 7-day strike. All theft, Navy nabs Ghanaian vessel, 13 crew members. Akeredolu's wife, niece at loggerheads over support for Aiyedatiwa. PDP Ondo stakeholders brainstorm over Guba poll. Looting FCTA to establish police posts in warehouses. FG to begin distribution of grains nationwide. Okay, which story?
Nationwide distribution of grains by the federal government. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, said on Monday, using his X handle, that he wants, first of all, extending his sincere compassion to those affected by the hardships in the country. He understands the gravity, the unfortunate event of foodstuff warehousing, warehouse looting, and then he says the federal government has decided that, is committed to reducing and cushioning the hardships for us, and so they will commence the distribution of 42,000 metric tons of grains in 36 states of the Federation as one of the programs to be rolled out this week. They'll be working with NEMA and DSS to ensure that the grains get to the right people in right packages and quantities. Then 58,500 metric tons of milled rice from mega rice millers will also be released into the market for stabilization. And it's just to show government's commitment to, helping cushion the effect of the hardship Nigerians are going through right now.
Okay. Any other story in Tribune?
Yes, I have the story about the Oyo State health workers are down in tools. They begin a 7-day strike. The government said it's been doing its best to attend to their needs, but this is a collaboration of this. It's the National Union of Allied Health Professionals. So we're talking the Union of Medical Laboratory Scientists, physiotherapists, dental technologists, dental therapists, social workers, radiographers, nutritionists, dietitians, hospital and administrative pharmacists. And all these people are saying that they are down in tools because of some issues with their CONHES, the table of payments that they're supposed to get. They've raised this issue. They also said that there should be a restoration call of duty allowance, implementation of full directorate for medical lab services. And the government is saying they're talking to them, but I don't like when we let people let them go on strike. So if they already give notice, listen to them and talk to them. The people, this particular union have always complained that they don't get the same attention as doctors get. But yet, the hospitals cannot run without these people. You can't get treated without your medical reports. You don't get, without healthy diet, you're going to have issues with your health long term. So please let the government of your state talk to them before they go on strike, because they said they're starting the strike on March 11th.
Okay, another story in Tribune. And that's all we can take. You had Guardian. You want to take that major headline in Guardian? Let's see. Over 198,000 pending court cases leave many in jail, businesses stranded. Is that a story you wanted to take?
Yes. That's
Go ahead,
the story. So, according to the Guardian, all the various courts have different, amounts of cases, totaling 198,432 pending cases across the nation. And we have about 54,124 awaiting trial inmates, those who are awaiting trial in court and they just took an inventory completely. We are spending about 5,412,000 to feed daily, to feed them. According to the Guardian, they said, in addition, the Nigerian government spends 5,412,400 daily on paper. So we don't know whether that's truly, but that's what is in the books. And they blame this on a lot of cases. In my experience, technology would help. They're also suggesting technology to help judges to speedily listen to their cases. One of the difficulty we have, it's against the principle of natural justice to have not to hear a case. So we have finished trial of a pattern. We've prosecuted diligently a case to final written address, and the judge retires. The new judge that comes will have to hear it all over again. But if we had deployed some form of technology to keep the proper records, the person can, just catch up in between.
Yeah.
So imagine that we finished that matter before the ending of last year. We have to start afresh, all over, bring in all evidence again. So such things, of course, we make matters drag. So one of those things we know is against the principle of natural justice. That's why we have to hear it. But we can deploy other means to make sure, to ease it.
Another story that caught my attention in The Guardian, the president has called for the increased collaboration between the African Union and the United Nations to end the proliferation of arms and light weapons in Africa. This is a major issue we're facing. He expressed concern over the preponderance of weapons in several African countries and their contribution to conflict, insurgency, violence, and loss of lives in the region. So they must work together to find a way to reduce the number of weapons we have. It's really, really horrible. People just have access to weapons.
Easy access.
It's really
Criminals have easy access.
Okay, that is all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we'll talk to our hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So our hot topic today is about the fact that some news went viral. The wife of the late governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu's wife, Mrs. Betty Akeredolu, and the late governor's niece, Funke Akeredolu Aruna, on Monday traded words, especially as regards her support for the current governor. The former First Lady lamented her late husband's younger sister or niece, who was the former Deputy Chief of Protocol in the state. According to a social media post, Mrs. Akeredolu described Akeredolu Aruna as shameless and a serpent for supporting Aiyedatiwa, who is aiming to get the tickets for the ruling party. According to the post she put out, she said, "Behold the face of Aketi's niece, Funke Akeredolu Aruna, the former Deputy Chief Protocol to Aketi, shamelessly parades herself as I am lucky, bloody serpent." Of course, Mrs. Akeredolu Aruna also responded, says that the attack on her was political, was on her personality, as it was needless and purely political, alleging that it was designed to smear her image because she was close to the incumbent governor, Aiyedatiwa. So that's the conversation. I mean, we've all been on social media and seen how this kind of panned out in the last 24 hours or 48 hours. And some people saying that this is a woman who is mourning, so we should understand the emotions. Others are saying that it was unnecessary, her outburst. What are your thoughts on this? Because these are things that happens within families. I mean, especially when somebody passes on, or the person that holds the whole family together passes on, then you start seeing different emotions coming from different angles. What are your general thoughts on this? You can call us on 081-0764-1679, 090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag #YourViewOnTVC. You can stream live on YouTube at TVC Entertainment _. Follow our Instagram handle, the Ladies of Your View and TVC _. All right, so Ladies of Your View, who wants to? Let me let you. You established the story in the paper review, yes.
And I have, I was very interested in why he was ill and why there was no transfer of power of duties to the deputy governor until he passed and all of that. So I think I have a bit of knowledge of this. And I remember that at that time, back and forth, there were talks about how the present widow comported herself. Some people criticized that she wasn't around him, that she hated the deputy governor for wanting to take over and all of that. So that's why I said at this time, she must be seen to now face the matters that are of concern. He has passed. We have lost a great person, but the state is separate from him. This is your family now. At the moment, she didn't run for any office in Ondo State. She does not have any political ambition portfolio. She can just continue with her family. She's the mother of his children. She's a widow, presently mourning. There are ways to face it. And I understand grief. In grief, you can be very bitter. In fact, my father's younger sister had a birthday a week after my father passed. We didn't know, because I didn't even know what her birthday was. But my cousins now put up a picture of their mom sitting with the cake and they were all singing happy birthday to you. I was like, excuse me. You people have the audacity. My father is not even dry to shop cake and sing happy birthday to. What nonsense. That was, if you see the way, I had to, at that moment, learn to shut up because I would have said destructive things. Yeah. But the way I reacted, I didn't even wish. When my auntie now called about 2 days after again, because she was always checking up, I just didn't pick her call. You can be in that space. If you've lost someone, you know this person is not coming back. This is your own love of your. You need to separate and let people live. Yeah. So I had to just learn to keep quiet. It's not a good place and time to talk. Yeah. So I understand that she's grieving, but can she just grieve the loved one and leave the state?
Politics. Okay, let me come to you, Mariam. What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, for me too, I think it's about understanding. It's about grieving, I get that. And, she's going through a really tough time right now. And because he was also governor, there were stories of maybe somebody tried to sabotage it. All sorts of things will be told to her. His detractors, his supporters, everybody will come with one story or the other. You know how it can be now when you're in a particular position. People all around will be weaving all sorts of stories, truth and untruth. They'll weave it and tell you. And then coupled with what she's going through, the grief, I can imagine, the sort of thoughts that she has. But it's not the time to go on social media. As also, if it's not social media, it's not the time to just say exactly how you feel. This is the time to sit down with your circle of very trusted friends and family and tell them how you feel. They are the ones that are going to keep your secret, if you understand what I mean. They will understand where it's coming from. They will understand the hurt or the bitterness. They will also understand that it doesn't really mean anything. But they'll keep it and kill it there because what has happened now is that this thing has taken up a life of its own. Now the niece is responding. People are going to be telling the niece other things as well. And it has, if they already had like a shaky relationship, if there was no strong relationship or bond between them, this can go a long way in destroying it forever. All right.
Toko, let me come to you in this issue of loyalty. And I'd like to paint the picture based on what I read in the article. So this is a niece that used to serve under her uncle, right? Now, she knew the deputy governor as her uncle's deputy governor, and they were both like her uncles. They were really close. So they were like family until the cabal issue happened, where politics, people now had issues, interests changed. So your uncle's closest buddy is now his, was it the opponent, or when they were having issues back and forth at the time, right? Trying to find the word. So
rival?
Yeah, possibly rival. So at the time, right? Now, maybe while your uncle was alive, the other uncle, which is not your family blood member, you still supported him. I know you're trying to be governor, don't worry, something will happen, but I have to stay with my uncle. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, your uncle dies. You now have an adult decision to support him because you've always known him anyway. Is there something wrong in her being loyal to somebody who she also sees as family member that's been really close? Because it's a tough decision, it's a tough place to be in. Am I loyal to my dead uncle who was governor, who didn't want this guy to be governor in the first place? Or should I just be myself and support him because he's a good guy, I just like him?
So I don't think loyalty has to do with it. The only person that can contest her loyalty is already dead. May his soul rest in peace. The only person who can say she was not loyal to me is that late former governor. And from her position, she said, I know him, I know the relationship that this governor has with my uncle. They had no issue until the cabal came in and sold propaganda. So what we are consuming on social media and in conventional media largely is propaganda, because for every time the current governor spoke, he said, I have no issue with my governor, that he was loyal to his principal till the man died. So here is a lady that is in between this, saw the drama happening, but knows the truth. And according to her statement, she chose to stick with the truth. The truth, the only person that can say her truth is not true.
What the wife doesn't believe is the truth. The wife might say, no, took a wrong side. Took a wrong side.
Because the propaganda we heard said the wife was against the deputy governor. You know, like I said, we don't know the truth of the situation. They had no issue until he became ill. That's if we're dealing with the political facts. Based on the not based on what he said. Though. Politically, the governor, the former governor and the current governor had no issue until the late governor.
What she's saying is that that's what they told us outside, but internally they could have issues. They're way to placate these things
conversation, like that's why I started by saying that the only person that can say that you have been disloyal to me
is him.
He's the person who's passed on. And I feel that as an adult, she's entitled to where she will stand, especially in the midst of politics. We know what politics can do. Politics divide family. They would put a father against his son.
Yeah.
They will go and meet the son and tell the son, I will give you a position so that your father will not get what he wants. You know, there are different drama that happens when it comes to politics. So to thyself be true. When it comes to politics, it is in your own heart that you know. When you take one side, I said I'm openly taking a side in Ondo State election. That's because I choose to be open about my conversation. Somebody can come and tell me now that you don't have a right to do anything. What's your business? You are a wife. Politics can be covered in plenty selfish interests. It is only even the woman that the late widow that is speaking right now. To what interest? You know, you ask, like, to what interest? Why? Like, what are you trying to, this post you did on Facebook now, to achieve what? Because according to the niece, she's saying you want to paint me black. To what interest? So when we think about the intention behind everything that is being done, you would realize that the truth is already obvious to everybody. There was a consistent lie being pushed out. And we shouldn't go back into a case of somebody that has passed on, but there was a constant lie being pushed out that he was okay, he's coming back, all of that story to keep somebody else back. So there was a lot of things that shouldn't have happened that happened within that Ondo State drama. So if today they have now sworn in somebody else after your husband's passing, that's the will of the people, that's government. There should be no conversation around it anymore. But I get what Nima said and what Mariam said. When people are grieving, there are a lot of emotions.
But can you also say it's grieving? The reason why I always argue that,
grieving, no.
Because when somebody dies, like suddenly, you see a grieving wife. Stuff like this, you're not on Facebook. But when somebody is sick for a while, your mind already prepares yourself that, okay, eventually he's better off going to rest. So it helps the grieving. Wigwe's wife is grieving. Oh, she's passed.
No.
I'm just
grieving.
Somebody who the family is grieving. You will not see anybody in the family trying to post anything on social media because they are grieving.
The intention.
But somebody who is sick and there's a period of illness, even my mother was sick for a while, for 10 weeks. In that 10 weeks, I had to come to a point where my mother has to go for her to let her go and rest because the pain is too much. So there's grieving and there's grieving. So are you sure that this is a grieving?
No.
Or this is just somebody who
is bitter from...
Let's assume. Let's just, when somebody has passed and their loved ones are not acting proper, they are grieving. And we cannot assume the level of love.
Okay.
We cannot even tell, there's no way to
see how they should cry.
That's the matter. But, at this time, Betty Akeredolu has always been a Facebook person. She has a very active Facebook page for ranting, expressing her thoughts, write anything.
Yes.
This is the time when I expect the people around her, knowing how she's always done, to close that page.
Thank you.
And allow her. She's from the East. They say when they grieve, I think it's a year of, the woman will have her hair shaped, shaved, the woman would, you know...
Not all the...
No, by the ones I pushing growing up, she should be... And, you know, reminiscing the times with this person and praying for the repose of his soul. You know, stay away from anything toxic at this time. You see, one thing that grief has taught me is that everything takes care of itself with time.
Yeah.
Whether this Aruna lady is betrayed, serpent, or whatever, it is with time. It is not with the speeches that you make. But you see, the problem is that just as you are talking now, the talk, everything you've written will not go. It's on record. And it's with time, we will know where. Everybody will have something to refer to. For her right now, what will earn my respect is for her to just stay away and face her family. Because she's not the only one grieving. We don't know the level of love. We don't know the ages of the children. Yeah. Some of them will be too much. A friend was telling me recently that her uncle is ill. The first time he had an illness, he's in his 80s. The first time he had an illness, one child of all his children left wherever she was and came to stay with him. The moment this one started again, she has come back again. This one child, you know, the children will be grieving in their different levels. Some will be able to face life again. Some will not be able to. Yeah. Her business now is to rally that immediate family, that one that she has control of, and make sure everybody is fine.
We have to wrap up on this because we have 3 guests today. I know you wanted to say something.
Yes, I just wanted to say that also we need to look at the peculiarity of this particular situation. See, people in political families, they hear so much. So you have someone that's instigating all sorts of emotions and the sort of speech that you hear. So also, if we say that this is someone that's always been on Facebook or social media, why do we think that there's someone that can stop her right now? This is now, she feels now even more justified to speak her mind.
It's even therapeutic.
It will be more, even therapeutic for her. It will be really hard to, you know, to tie her down. Are you going to tie her down? Are you going to lock up her social media? So the thing is, right now, I just advise her to stay off social media for now, grieve in privacy, and eventually, you know, things will come out.
Even during the tributes, I heard that some of the things she wrote also started eliciting.
Yeah,
so,
that kind of,
so there are different ways of looking at this thing. So, I mean, it's possible. I know there are also women where, now that Oga has gone, it's time for you to express your true, what has been hurting you. There's some mothers I know that have been suppressed. There's some women who have been suppressed, who have been bullied in their marriages. And when the man passes on, they see an opportunity to express the hurt they've been feeling for years. So that could be something
pressure.
If
you have a sister, go to your sister's house
content.
and express it.
Pressure would only reveal content. It's already inside, it's coming out. If you're pressed. So she found herself in grieving position. There's a pressure on her. What is inside will come out. If you don't have, see someone calling somebody serpent, you know, the things that you will not say. So I understand she's going through what she's going through. There's a lot of things that we've seen on social media that she's posted before.
So that for somebody to say serpent, that means they have betrayed, they have shown her pepper. She's coming from a pepper, they have peppered her for years.
Or some people are just used to using really
kind of strong language.
Okay, even when they are joking, they use strong language. So when they are angry, you can imagine how strong it will be.
That's all we can take on this segment, but I think it was just important for us to just touch on it because we've not even addressed the grieving part. There'll be other parts of opportunities to have this conversation properly because women and men who have this situation, they question loyalty, they question family, they question loved ones, they question commitments to each other. So this is the conversation worth having another time. But we have quite a few guests today, so we have to get to wrap up. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we move on to our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show now is a special advisor to the Lagos State Governor on climate change and circular economy. Lagos State Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget, Mrs. Titi Oshodi. She'll be discussing how to reduce the threats of climate change in Lagos State. Welcome to the show.
Very
Good
much.
to have you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
So, you know, we Nigerians, when we hear climate change, we're thinking, what is all this? We got this planting flower. Remember fashion last time was planting flower over the place. No, this is not planting flower. But why is Lagos State what's Lagos State doing concerning climate change?
Good. I like the fact that you started with that acronym, that what is climate change, and just helping us to contextualize the idea of climate change in itself. And what do we mean by climate change? It's a change in our climate, isn't it? It's just the effects of the weather, the effect of the various seasons as they are supposed to play out, and the fact that they have become, there's a distortion in the playing out of the seasons and the times. In various climes, there are different indicators that show what climate change impact and the impact is. In our climb, we have flooding, we have heat waves, we have, thunderstorms, and these are things that are very prevalent, especially within the very vulnerable communities. We have a high level of informal settlement in Lagos. Yes. About 65% of our residents within our 21 million population are in informal settlements. And so they are regarded and classified as vulnerable communities.
So I'd like this very simplified. You just referred to the heat wave. And when it happened, we did not call it, we say our sin don't plenty. So I would like you to really simplify, how our lifestyle and, how we contribute to what we experienced last month before that heavy rain that we were all praying for, and what we can do to change those things.
Okay, so if you're saying climate change and you're talking to the lady who is a hairdresser, who washes people's hair, or you're talking to the vulcanizer who is repairing and fixing tires, they may not necessarily understand it. Even for middle class, some of us still think of climate change as an issue that the government, they should handle by themselves. However, if we want to hold on to the tangible aspect of it, what we're saying is that every day we generate waste, from our cosmetics to our plastics, the water that we drink, to the car that we drive, the tires. So for the vulcanizer, he doesn't understand that the tire that he works with is a potential source of resource for him. But the use of it, the burning of it, right, emits the potent carbon that affects the hemisphere. The lady who washes her customer's hair and pours the water into the gutter, that ultimately leads and channeled into the ocean, affects the lives on the ocean, affects the lives on the land, and the emission of those things that are pollutants within the sea, within the ocean, also in the period of degeneration emits carbon that affects the hemisphere.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, on this table, I try to talk about it, but your office is a new office.
Yes.
It's climate change, it's circular economy. And what people asked me recently was, this circular economy, in simple English, what does it mean? What I said, but of course you can, elaborate on it, I said, is how to make money from this climate change talk that we have been talking about. Yeah. What do you say?
Yes, you're right. If we have to put it in very, very regular, everyday terms. And I had said to myself that in explaining this, I have to really numb it down, because if we're talking over people who we need for them to latch on to this opportunity, then we're not going to get progress. So what is circular economy? It's just basically how to manage your waste, how to recycle, how to repurpose, how to upscale. What do I mean by recycle? Your plastics, your paper, what it is that you normally generate within the household. There are various possibilities, technical solutions that are available that can help with repurposing it or recycling it into something else. You know, we had our Valentine, during the Valentine season, we wanted to give plants to our neighbors at work, just as a gesture of sharing love, but in an environmentally sustainable way. All of the plastics, all the flower pots that were used were made out of plastics that had been reused, repurposed for that, for the purpose of flower pots. Our clothes, you know, fast fashion has caused such a high level of emission into the seas, into the ocean, into the air. And so how can we start to look at ways to repurpose our clothes? How can we look for technology that uses the fiber from the clothes for different other opportunities like interior, you know, other types of paper, even paper. There's so many things that you can do with such.
So I love that the conversation is coming down to schools. My school, my son this morning was reminding me he has to do a project, and his project is to show half of the earth in red, color the semicircle red, and draw a line, and then do the other one green. And in between, he has to write the things that he needs to do to move the earth from being red to being green. And that's simplifying how we need to regenerate the earth for children. So I know there was a conference, and there was a presentation, and what were the major outcomes from this, and what were the submissions that stakeholders are moving towards implementing in this circular economy process that we're working on?
So if we just, you know, step back a bit and talk about where we have pulled some of the statistics that have guided the plan, the framework of our plan. The Climate Action Plan actually stipulates in various ways the big industry, the big sectors that emit the highest level of carbon, and energy being the highest, and then transportation, and then waste being the second, and transportation being the third. You know, and within those areas, there are various activities that go on. So if we start with the waste, one of the initiatives that we have drawn up, if we're talking about schools, is how we can ensure that children can develop the culture of identifying plastics, being one of the very many areas or prerequisites for waste management within that area. So with plastics, ensuring or educating children, as we know that a child is accessible to at least 4 adults, and they're very, very strong influencers within the home. If a child understands the vision of his or her teacher, that child will most likely influence her parents or his parents with the principles or the philosophies of the teacher and bring it home and, you know, sort of teach. So now understanding that from our research, from, you know, the numbers that we have built, knowing that if we're able to incorporate that climate-friendly action or that behavioral attitude towards these recyclable items, and these children can go home, they can also take it a notch further by telling their parents the inherent wealth possibilities that are in those items. And these are things that we have built up in terms of curriculum. The Ministry of Environment through LOMA, they have a platform that is like a summer program, you know, that help these children to see. But we realize that they need to now have to develop it like a habit.
Yeah.
They need to build it over time. So we have to stretch something that is on a weekly basis, like a extracurricular activity, so that they can begin to live it. When you start up a habit and you're using it, doing it for a period of time, then you become subsumed in it and it becomes a lifestyle.
Let's talk about because of time, let's talk about the Vision 2050. What's that about?
The Vision 2050 is
Zero
that's
carbon.
the vision set by Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. And in line with that vision, we have developed a mission called Mission 50/50, right? And it essentially explains that over a period of 4 to 5 years, we want to be able to achieve a 10% reduction in carbon emission, and then on the other hand, use these numbers that we are already seeing as potential capacities, as potential opportunities, flip it around and create 10,000 direct and indirect job opportunities within the next 4 to 5 years. So if we're looking at 10,000 per year, then by the end of 5 years, we should be at least disaggregating that unemployment bracket by 50%.
So if I were to refer to your just concluded inaugural event called the Economy, at that event you had people in the sustainable sector, people that were using old clothing to make new clothing that they could sell, e-waste and creating lighting alternatives, people using human waste and were making fertilizers. What does that tell you about, at the end of that event, what do you think you learned about what needs to be done within that sector in Lagos to scale it or, give more information for people to be able to, gain from it?
Yeah, to that. Yeah. How do you capture these, boys, I won't call them scavengers, who pick up, waste items for, along the road? How do we make it neater? How do we add them to this neat question Miriam just asked?
First and foremost, like I said, that it is an informal, that is a huge market that is still yet to be structured. Even though, to an extent, the barriers are low and there are people who are operating in that space, there's a need for the private sector to be involved. They have started to, but I think that there has to be a higher level of injection of capital into that place. Why? These businesses, the MSMEs that are doing what they're doing, the upscale, those who upscale clothing, those who are, repurposing tires, there's a huge market that is opening up in that space for sustainably environmental materials. Is it in, fashion? Is it in construction? Is it in on the road? In works and infrastructure? Yeah. There's so many materials that can be gotten out of waste right now, even for households, right? If you imagine that an average home will generate, on a daily basis in Lagos, for instance, over 13 tons of waste is generated. Mm-hmm. And most of it come, apart from the industrial one, from households. Now imagine that organic waste, that is, food mixed with different sort of, organic waste that is generated at home can actually be fabricated, can be worked into a fabrication to decompose, to emit clean gas, clean they call it biogas, which is gotten as a produce from a biodigester, right? Not only are you able to save costs for gas, but you're also contributing to that low carbon vision that we're all talking about. So for the scavengers, right, they will continue to do what they're doing because they have, they work with the PSPs to achieve all of that, and they go to the landfill. But also bearing that the landfill is also getting to full capacity, about 60% of capacity right now, and we're only utilizing 8% of it. So there's room, a lot of room for recycling, for repurposing.
Fortunately, we have to wrap up with you, but I mean, thank you so much. We had to just bring you on here just to give us an update on what your office is doing to support climate change. But we wish you the best, and we'll continue to check up on you once in a while.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to our next segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
According to reports, the House of Representatives have asked the federal government to introduce mandatory drug tests in all secondary schools in the country. The bill was sponsored by none other, Honorable Olanrewaju Osun, who says substance abuse among young people is fast becoming a global public health concern and gradually leading to health complications, including disorders and drug dependence and death. Okay, we have the man himself join us now on the show, the man who sponsored the bill, Honorable Olanrewaju Osun, and the spokesperson of the NDLA, hopefully sometime later on, Mr. Femi Babafemi, will be speaking to us remotely on this proposal. Welcome to the show, sir. It's good to have you here.
Good morning.
Good morning. When we hear things like this, they are sponsoring the bill to be taking mandatory tests, we're thinking, our children. Why would they do that to our children? But what informed this decision or this proposal in the House?
Well, once again, thank you. Good morning. Funnily, this morning, I woke up to a text from one of my constituents sending me a message that we need to do something about it. And she actually sent me a video of somebody struggling on the floor, you know, and he said it was on Colos. I have about 3 or 4 videos that were sent to me this morning. I don't know what Colos is, but it's one of the drugs.
Colorado.
Well,
Wow.
It's one thing that it knocks them out. They become senseless. This motion was, I represent the Gospel and Federal constituency, and in that constituency, I have the highest concentration of high institutions in Nigeria. That's the highest. I have Unila, Yabatek, and the rest. When you walk around that constituency every day, what you see is not palatable. It's highly unfortunate. When I was growing up, when you talk of drugs, the first thing that comes to your mind is cannabis. Then it moves into cocaine. But now you have so many things, from Colorado to gum to so many things, tramadol and so on. And unfortunately, in the olden days, when you talk of drugs, you look at people in their 30s, in their 40s. Now you have boys as little as 10 on drugs in primary school, in secondary school. Some years back, when my son was going to secondary school and I was scouting for school, there's a secondary school in Lagos that I was told not to touch with a bag pole because the cult in that school is worse than the cult in universities.
Yeah?
Yes, in Lagos. So it means that there's a problem. And until we resolve that problem, because everybody keeps talking about the economy, about our leadership, but we are not looking at the foundation. And we need to go back to that foundation, because either we like it or not, if you have a 12-year-old who is on drugs, they will come out of secondary school, going to university, and is going to be the leader of tomorrow.
Honorable sir, go ahead.
Yes. So what would this do in curbing this problem? What would this bill do?
Well, the first thing we want to do is to identify who is on drugs and help you. People think it's punitive. It's not. It's to help you. So if, for example, you know that you're going to be randomly tested or you're going to be mandatorily tested in school, there's every tendency you might not do it. But even if you decide to do it, if you decide to go on drugs, we'll identify it at early stage and help.
Honorable Osun, the cost of this test. You know, I took this story last week and I was like, share the money for Tesla Nini or the money to, help. What exactly? Because I see the cost long term. So we test the children at a particular cost. We then have to be forced to because we can't just review the situation and then leave it like that. So we have to deal with it.
Them.
So there's also another cost for that as well. So which cost should we carry first?
I don't think the cost should be important to us. Honestly, I don't think we should be looking at the cost. Because at the end of the day, we are looking at the future of this country. Everybody keeps talking about the youth are the leader of tomorrow. So if we have ruined leaders from day one, then we are going to have ruined leaders. We have ruined youth, sorry. We are going to have ruined leaders. Yeah. So I don't think, because, and let's look at it from this angle. If you're talking about the cost, okay, if somebody is on Colorado and he decides he can't afford that Colorado, he's going to steal from who? You and I. So if you think, oh, my son is okay, my children are okay.
Honorable, let me come in here some here, because it's not every day we have honorables in our midst. Whenever we have it like this, it's good for us.
Invite us, we'll come.
So, because every single time in my head, I'm thinking, for me, what you just said, you said something earlier, that we need to go back to the foundation. And I was thinking in my head, what exactly is the foundation? Because I worry that we're not attacking it at the foundation. What I think would help this solution, or help fix this problem, is attacking those who are bringing these drugs in, where there are harder laws. Because if those kids don't have access to those things, they will do other things. They'll be useful in different ways. So I've always tried to advocate that we need laws, maybe an executive order, to start beheading people. Yeah. The reason is because NDLA is working around the clock to bust these guys who are bringing these drugs in, arresting them every day. They take pictures and put them in prison. Somehow, if there's a break, there's a jail break, and they're back in the streets. Or they know somebody, they rob somebody, and they get out. Sentences. So they're short sentences. So they are out there. When you catch somebody and you have evidences, as a lawmaker, don't you think it would be more productive for us to begin to start taking some serious, drastic measures that the children know they won't have access to, because the supplier is no more supplying. They are beheaded his Oga.
Well, there are two sides to every coin. The first side is, like I said, let's catch them young. Let's see what we can do to them. If you're talking about the dealers, look, the dealers, in any country in the world, there will be people that will break the law. So no matter what you do, some people should take the risk. There was a time in this country that drug dealers were being killed. Yeah. Was this three? By Babangida? By Buhari and Diagbon. But that did not stop them from still doing the deal. That's number one. Our law today is predictive enough. It's for us to make the law. It's for the judiciary to interpret the law. So if, for example, we say, okay, the option is either life jail or beheading or shooting. If the judiciary decides that, okay, we're going to give life jail or something, we can't do anything about it. That's number one. But either we like it or not, if you bring something in, we keep talking about those bringing these drugs in. There are some drugs they don't need to bring in. Okay, like the sewage. They use the sewage. How do you stop that?
How?
The sewage. They use gum. How do you stop that? Some time ago, I used to be a prison officer, and we realized that a mixture of some things, I don't want to mention it on here, some fruits, mix them together, leave them for 3-4 days, is even more potent. Is more potent than cocaine. Wow. And they are fruits. So basically, we need to understand the fact that we must do everything to help. Yes, we must do everything to help this society. And for us to help this society, we're all involved. Well, you see, it's easy for us to keep blaming somebody. We shift the blame. But let's search ourselves. We all have a role to play.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I hear you, and I understand that the universities are being, a lot of the universities within the area, people are taking advantage of drugs, but I also feel that the advocacy should be stronger than just testing, because the fund for test and the fund for advocacy, if we weigh the options, supporting NDLEA to create more advocacy platform might be a better framework to achieve what you want to achieve within that area, or supporting NGOs to create the same thing, because we cannot do random sampling. There are people that will go through that entire environment and will never touch drugs, despite the fact that it's prevalent around them. But if we are concentrating on those that we see are already using or are in areas where they use, oh gosh, I just remembered something that Olumide mentioned. He said the spirit of the addiction always provides for the addiction, that people would land in a place because they are addicted, they will get what they need. And you can live in that same area and you've never seen where they sell whatever hard drugs. So there are clusters of these places where these things are prevalent. How about we create a law that supports interventions for those areas, as opposed to just saying, oh, we're testing everybody that comes into this university because we want to prevent drug abuse?
There is no area that is exempted. Don't let us deceive ourselves. There is no area. If you live in Ikoyi, for example, and you think, oh, it's an elite area, someone that's on drugs in Abuja or in Bariga or in Ekpaja who needs money to buy drugs will come to Ikoyi to steal, and in the process will kill in Ikoyi. So there is no area that is exempted. If you think, oh, I live in a gated estate, there is no way you are protected. That's number one. And if you feel, oh, my son will not do this, my son, it will affect you one way or the other. Yesterday, there was something that was sent to me on Ikorodu Road. The woman was driving, and somebody climbed on a car and started stabbing.
Yeah?
Yes. So there is no way you are protected. Drug is a menace that we must curb. And to curb that drug, all hands must be on deck. I don't want us to even think about the cost. We keep talking about the cost. Let's forget about the cost. This is our future. The future of Nigeria is these youths you are talking about. And these youths, are we saying there's a cost to their well-being? I don't think so.
I don't even think that the cost is really about, I think it's more about sustainability than how much it costs. That's one. And secondly, let me tell you what I feel a little bit uncomfortable with this bill. I like the idea, but for me, it seems like it's just a point to a user bill. So I've pointed him out. Then what? Is there something I'm missing? Maybe there's more to it that shows how it will take you from pointing this person out to rehabilitation, to finding down through the value chain who the kingpin is. That, that's what I would like to. How robust is this beyond pointing them out?
It's in the motion. In the first place, we are looking at helping the person. In the second place, we are looking at helping the society. In the third place, we are looking at even stopping those that, if you are thinking about it. The advocacy, it's something, like you said, the House Committee on Information must start that advocacy. We've asked the ministry to start the advocacy, the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, NDLA, start the advocacy. So start talking to Nigerians, start bringing out videos showing the effects of if you take drugs, what will be the effect. Okay. When I was young, they would tell you just touching drugs, you will not mad. Or my friends would tell my sisters, if you allow a man to just hold you, you will get pregnant. There was that fear. So we need to bring that back. And parents, you see, if, for example, when I was young, in my father's house, you can never smoke, you can never drink. But if as a parent, you stay with a 10, 12-year-old, you are smoking, you are drinking, and you think there's nothing wrong with it, students don't themselves, children don't listen to what we say. They listen to what we do. They watch what we do and they want to replicate it outside. So for them, if my father can do it, my brother can do it, why can't I do it? It's not what you say. So you can tell them, oh, don't smoke. It's very bad. But they see you smoking. They see you smoking in the house. They will do it.
So Dr. Oshodi, she's a psychologist, was here on the show once, and she said a child who mistakenly takes alcohol before they're 20 would most likely use drugs. And she gave a percentage, I don't know, 60-40 of those children who do that. So just because you mentioned the parents now, some parents say, I don't do drugs, but I just take alcohol, and they leave the remnant at the bottom of the bottle for the child to take the bottle away. The child tests it, and we are at risk. Advocacy is beyond just testing. It is, taking the entire chain and putting it in their faces. Billboards, TV stations, and all of that. I think, does this bill also capture that extent of our advocacy, or just focusing on testing secondary school students?
Well, in the first place, what we're talking about today is not even a bill. It's a motion. That's number one. Number two, it's a motion empowering Ministry of Health, Federal Ministry of Health, Federal Ministry of Education, Information, to start talking to our students. Okay. That's the first one. Number two is to try and identify who has that problem. Okay. Number three is to try and help those who has those problems. Okay. Number four is to make sure that if you are caught with this, if, for example, a student is caught on drugs or taking drugs, we want you to take us to where you bought it from, who sold it to you, who gave it to you. And in the process, look at the chain of supply. And in the course of the chain of supply, we need to know who the kingpin is, who is the drug dealer, who is the baron. Yeah. Not even just somebody selling on the street. Because in most cases, you have these scapegoats on the street that they just give it to go and sell. They are not the baron. They don't have anything. Yeah. But the person behind you, the person giving it to you, is it the person importing it or it too? So we want to go towards that line and make sure that we eliminate even your source of supply.
All right. Okay. Let me take Clement. We call the whole day from Shango Tedo. Shangota.
Somewhat.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mrs. Clemens. Go ahead, please. Songwater.
Hello. Hello.
You're live.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You are live. Go ahead. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I support what you said. Hello, I support what you said concerning beheading, killing, or doing anything. But your guest is trying to dodge that area. I believe if a drastic measure is taken concerning a drug peddlers and whatever, like it happened during former President Buhari and Idiagbo, I think it curtailed it. People became afraid. So let there be a very drastic action. Like, that's my contribution, please.
Thank you, Mrs. Clement. And he has responded that there are multi levels of fixing this problem. It doesn't. One way is not always the right way, but we can always
look at the
different.
We're not at the level of Malaysia. Malaysia, they had to go very drastic because they were dealing with, it was like an epidemic. It was happening everywhere. We are at that level, Abi.
Yeah, so so you need to consider something.
Yes, I think some of us are in a bubble that we don't know what is going on or how bad it is. But there were, I remember Auntie Annie has spoken about these things a few times. Like this, the agencies, the police, they know where these people are. So is that do we have a system to rehabilitate? Because it's not just about carrying them out. It's not about just arresting them or seizing the supply. These people are dealing. It's no longer like a crime. Their actions will result in a crime, but in itself they are addicted. So how do we take someone that is currently addicted and take them through a process that turns them into responsible citizens within the country? So we're dealing with that, and then we're preventing other young Nigerians from emulating such people.
Well, that was why I said it's an holistic process. We are not just trying to identify the users. What can we do to help? That is very important, because there's no point in identifying, you take drugs and let you go home. There must be a process of helping you. Okay, is it through the hospital? Is it through the psychiatric hospital? Because we have so many people now who we think are normal, but who are not normal. So there must be a process. But you see, on the issue of police, I don't want to generalize, because in as much as we have some bad police, we have some very beautiful police who are doing very well. So I don't want to paint all of them with one brush. Okay. But we know, as a matter of fact, that some of them look at these drug dealers and they are a source of mail to them, because they know where to go there and collect their money. I'll give you an example. In my constituency, there's a place, and somebody brought my attention to it one day, and I walked there around 7 o'clock in the evening, and I saw young boys and girls almost naked, who is gone, who doesn't know where she was, guys rolling on the floor. And I had to call the DP of Cyber. Look, listen, this place must be cleared. And I must tell you, in 24 or 30 minutes, the place was cleared. People were arrested. People were arrested, and we went through the whole hog. I don't want to discuss that because they're still working on that. But we have policemen that you
can be done.
It can be done, definitely.
Let me take this call from Hadiza, calling from Jos. Thanks for calling, Hadiza.
Thank you. I want to ask you, this testing of students and other things, who is going to school for it? Is it government or is it personal?
Can you hear?
I didn't get that.
Say that again. We didn't get that. Who's going to bear the cost?
Is it government that going to sponsor it?
Okay, is it government that's going to sponsor it? Okay. Okay, government's going to handle that, not private.
No.
And someone is also asking how often would this happen?
Well, we are looking at two things. One, the mandatory, if you want to get admission into school or at the beginning of every semester or something. Yes. But we want to introduce random. So when you're even coming to school, you're not even sure you can be picked. It doesn't have to be every 3 months or every 6 months. If, for example, the Federal Ministry of Education decides that, okay, we are facing social school in Kaduna today, and it's going to be random. Nobody knows they are coming. Even the principal will not know. Even the principal and teachers of that school will not know. They just walk in and say,
so if they arrest a child that I know, because those are, this is Nigeria. So is that process that is still unclear? Because ideas are great. We love the ideas. But you now arrest Mr. John's friend, like you're Mr. John.
Yes.
Your friend's son was arrested.
Yes.
And Mr. John calls, please call the police to get my son out of that place. It's the same process. What was the next step? I will get to the police station. Do they detain you there or do they transfer you? What exactly is the process?
If, for example, Mr. Johnson is found guilty or is on any substance, the next step is refer Mr. Johnson to the hospital.
To rehab.
Is it rehab? Is
Hospital,
it just...
I don't have space.
Look, this one, like I said, is going to be a special case. It's not a case of I have malaria and go to lawsuit and there's no bed. If, for example, you walk into a school and 50 students or 30 students are found to have substance in their body. Look, we have footballers...
Sorry to cut you, just to add to what you're already explaining is, what part has NDLEA played so far in this motion, and what part will they be playing as you carry out this?
Well, the case of NDLEA, we don't want, in that motion, I've not included NDLEA in that motion. Okay. And my reason being that we have Ministry of Education, we have Ministry of Health, we have Ministry of Information. Those are the three bodies we want to work together. Information to keep talking to Nigerians, to keep talking to parents, to keep enlightening them that, look, if you see this sign, these are the signs. If your son is doing this, if your daughter is doing this, so let them start telling us. So most of us don't even know what signs to look out for. You have your daughter that walks in and sat down somewhere, not talking to anybody or anything, oh, maybe she's tired. No, investigate why she's tired.
I have a caller. Mr. Muyiwa, I believe. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to you all. Good morning, Nima. Good morning to every one of you.
Good morning.
I want to make a remark in respect of my former colleague, Honorable Oshun. I want to make a remark in respect of what he's saying. To me, problem is like a plant that roots. We need to tackle it from the roots in order to address it fundamentally. However, that's because of it.
We lost that call. You see, let me show you where I'm a bit unclear. Okay. So we still take this child to the hospital, as you said. So there are 20, 30 of them. And they get to the hospital, they see them, they flush it out. Maybe they're there for 2-3 weeks where they could undergo rehab. Then they're back into school and the same factors still remain. The supplier is still there providing.
It's still the same
friends, peer pressures are there. People say, still use this thing. And then they reuse it again. The cycle continues because we have not dealt with the root cause of the problem. Either the dealers bringing into the schools, the suppliers, there's still a bigger problem. So it's one thing to say, I'm testing you, taking to the hospital, which you have done. But the long term, how to make it sustainable, which is what she said earlier, is still unclear to us.
That was why I said, if somebody is found guilty, we want to know where he got it from. That's number one. So by knowing, okay, somebody at the gate sold it to me, then the school knows that we need to man the gate. Well, if that guy at the gate is arrested, who gave it to you? There's a process. We will get to the end of it. We will get to the end of who actually brought it to that vicinity. That's one process. The other process is, okay, we've taken you to the hospital. We want to not just clean it from your system, but we want to educate you to the level that you know that you don't need to take it again. And in the process, you become somebody that's going to speak to other students, that's going to enlighten, that's going to talk to other students on why you think it should not be done.
I like this bill to some extent. So we have people who, when they are driving or they are in a particular place, are suspected to be, drug users. And there's no quick test that, So is there going to be like a test kit that, will be immediately carried around to test maybe the drink or the whatever?
Fertilizers, bottles for alcohol.
You see, this is the first motion. 2-3 other motions I'm working on.
Okay.
Even the car parks. When you walk into a car park today, you want to travel, you see all these monster drinks and everything, all these drugs goes on there. And we don't care. We just walk into the bus, sit down there, even knowing fully well that this guy that's going to take me from Lagos to Ijebu, but the guy is taking alcohol right in my presence. We need all these, we want to start working on. So that we want a process whereby when you walk into a car park and you think there's something funny, there's a number you can call. There's somebody you can call.
Okay.
We need to clear this system, and if we don't clear the system now, it's a time bomb.
All right, let me take this call. Adekule from Ikorodu, thanks for calling.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. We're live.
Yeah. I think the Nigerian as we speak today, in respect of whoever they must have tested and confirmed their drug problem or whatever, I do not think it is the form of I will take them to the hospital. Like Constitution already said,
how many desperate we have to cater for all these people, one. Two, the parents who is aware of their children inactive or misbehavior since all this while, they need to help the children as well. And lastly, the issue of when you are caught, the big people that are doing this thing, like what they said, you have a permanent what do you call it? Penalty. Because you are killing somebody. These two are killing somebody for them to make a living. The way Malaysia, Indonesia are doing, I think if we start from there, it may not be everybody, but if it comes to a time when everybody will see it that way, I think it's better for us. And
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much, Adekunle.
Yeah. So, sir, I think I understand now exactly what this motion is about. It's because drug use and abuse is such a massive problem. We're digging deep. But I think you're just trying to say, at schools, let there be provision for random testing. And if we do that, at least it will send a fear to students who are about to come to school that we're about to resume. Don't be caught. Or if you are the sort of person that normally deals drugs within schools, you realize, I dare not continue to do this because there's a likelihood of being caught. But I would like to find out if down the line you talk with NDLA, because I'm wondering who's going to handle these test kits? Who's going to do the testing? And who else is equipped to be able to read the test results? Are you going to get doctors or is it nurses or lab techs to work with you?
And if you look at the NDLA Act, it doesn't ask them to do testing.
Okay.
For them, it doesn't. But as a Ministry of Education, the welfare of that student is in your care.
Okay.
And this is where the next question that is coming on is about parenting. But we have so many parents that will say, you can't test my kids. I've had few people call me to say, no, it's violation of their human rights.
So who would test them, please, first? Is it the teachers?
The Ministry of Education and Health.
Yeah. Okay, so they'll come to the schools and
yes.
Okay, I get that.
Ministry of Education and Health.
You know, we have so it will be similar to like the way they do immunization, where because the law backs you to go into the school to check.
Let me take this call from Ifabi. Good morning, Ifabi. You're live.
Hello. Good morning, Honorable and the handlers of the program. Please, my question is, the NAFDAC Director General came to National Assembly. I must confess I did not like the way the woman and the Honorable Minister of State were humiliated concerning this issue and the way they treated with levity concerning all those psyche dreams. They start from there. And by the time your attitude determines your attitude in life, the attitude will prevail. It's also questionable. Please, let us address all these issues so that we can get through the big problem.
Right. I didn't get that.
So he was talking about the, mopping up of sachet alcohol drinks. The NAFDAC was spearheading the enforcement, and they were at an event where they were addressing, and the Minister for State herself, as well as the DG of NAFDAC, were addressing it, and they were embarrassed by the people. Man, and there's Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, and some, I think it's CUC, have been against it, saying to push people out of business. But they took the fight to the production, and so they are being attacked for... All
right, let me go to, because I know that you're here, and as I said, we don't always have honorables. Whenever you come like this, there's an opportunity to ask a few more questions. We are aware that all our, at least House of Representatives, were giving some sums of money, 100 million, for palliatives, during this hard season. And we know you've probably, hopefully, in receipt of your own allocation. So far, what are you doing with it, and how are you planning to help?
Well, I think we need to correct that impression. No member of the House of Reps was given 100 million.
Okay, very good.
No member.
Thank you
very much. We're giving something.
How about anything?
We're not giving anything.
Okay.
What the instruction from the presidency was that palliative will be given to every constituency.
Okay.
And from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, contractors were given that contract to go and provide it.
Okay.
I've done mine. Okay. The contractor came to me and said, look, I've been asked to produce social rice.
Okay.
The contractor did everything, but he did everything. Mine was just to be there for the distribution.
Oh, fantastic.
So I was not given a penny. I didn't get a penny from anybody.
Okay.
And I can tell you for free, no member of the House of Reps was given any 100 million. But from the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, contractors were given this contract to go and do it. And everybody keeps talking about 100 million. Let's face it. By the time they remove money for the ministry, the tax and everything, it comes down to about 50, 60 million. Because everybody keeps talking about 100 million. I know what 100 million is. I'm a member of the House, and for me, I know as a matter of fact, I'm saying it on national tele. I wasn't giving any 100 million. I was giving 100 kobo. That's number one. Number two, the contractor, on the 10th of February, I still have the video and I can send you the pictures. On the 10th of February, if you come to my constituency, I even included my money because the contractor was asked to distribute rice. But I said, no, I'm not going to do rice alone. So I used my money to buy some other stuff, gari, semo, and some other things. Add it to the rice, and it was distributed for over 1,000 people on the 10th of February in my constituency. But no member of the House of Reps, as far as I know, was given a penny. Contractors were awarded this contract to go and do it in every constituency.
So you are happy with what the contractor did?
Unless you're not in the inner circle where they are sharing the money. You know, there's a circle and there's inner
there is no circle.
There's a question on YouTube for you, sir. It says, Mina Tipi, she says, Honorable, drug testing is not the way to clear the system. What about the kids that are not in school?
Well,
This drug problem is...
There's always a process. I agree totally because in my findings, I realized that we have artisans, mechanic, carpenters, very close to schools that are being initiated into cults, initiated into drugs. I agree totally. But it's a process. Like I said to you, we're doing this, we're going to the car parks, we're going to do that very soon. There is a motion on car parks. It's a process. We must start from somewhere.
Okay, all right. So what are you going to say?
Yes, so I'm going to go back into general what happens in the National Assembly, those kind of things. And there are a few things that Nigerians are concerned about. We're concerned about how the National Assembly seems to be handicapped in speaking up for the people or fighting for the people regarding how the government policy is going. It seems like when we talk to people in the National Assemblies, we're hearing lamentation that Nigerians are also lamenting. In terms of checks and balance, I've been told that we're over-expecting from the National Assembly. Isn't National Assembly equipped to be able to call a minister to book concerning you're being effective, you're not being effective, and how powerful is the National Assembly?
Well, there are three arms of government, and the National Assembly or the legislator is an arm that's meant to make laws, and more importantly, we have oversight function of the law. So anything we can make law on, we can ask questions. I became a member about 8 months ago, and in that 8 months, I think we're doing a wonderful job.
Congratulations.
I'm not saying there's no room for improvement, but even for me, I've been a lawmaker in Lagos State for years, and getting to the National Assembly, I realized that it's a new ball game, and there is nobody. When we called the service chiefs the first time and they didn't come, we stood our ground and said, you must come to explain to Nigerians, and they came the next time. There is nobody, even at committee levels. Yesterday, the committee invited somebody and the person didn't come. As of yesterday, the committee has written to the speaker, get this person arrested. We don't care who you are. Nobody's above the law. What is important is for us to get to the nitty-gritty of it, get the facts. There are so many petitions we receive on a daily basis, and we find out that they are frivolous.
But to add to Tokwe's question is, I think she's not lamole the way that's lamole. She's probably worried about the Minister of Power.
Yes.
The whole of Nigeria. We are all asking, where is Adela? But I know he has given a press conference in the last 2 weeks, in fairness to him. But because the press conference also is shrouded in a lot of grammar. I mean, we understand the issues. The issues of transmission, the issues of generating, but others, the average Nigerians don't get it. Why can't we just pay Gencos and transmit and get the power? So it's still very far-fetched to the average Nigerian. So as a lawmaker that created the laws around NEC and all the other organizations, parastatals working to support the ministry, what are you doing? Or what do you think you can do in addition to what you've already done so far to get us to have power, to force the executive to make Nigerians get power?
One of the first things I did when I became a member was this issue of electricity. And I realized that in the course of the Gencos and the rest, some contract has been signed that we can't just walk out of now as a country. Unless our fine will be so enormous that I'm sure we need to borrow money to pay the fine. So if that is the process, we need to start working on how can we work with them.
Okay.
On the issue of the minister, I want to leave that for now.
Okay.
But how can Nigerians benefit from this government? What can we do to make sure that electricity, in the last few days, electricity has been terrible.
Days.
And
you want to try months?
Months.
But in working with them, because at times, it's not every time you need to fight. There are times you need to work with them.
Yes.
What can be done? What is the problem? Where can we come in? Okay. Is there anything that is stopping you from providing this process or this light? So at times, people will say, oh, they are rubber stamp, they are this. But there are times we need to put down our gloves and say...
Honorable, there's a particular bill we would like you to push. It's a bill that everybody in Nigeria, the way we will hail you for that bill, a bill that says that once you enter National Assembly,
yes,
all your children should attend public schools, all your medical bills, all your medical treatment should be done in Nigeria. If those kind of bill, then when you do that kind of bill, the entire country will just shut down.
In fact,
the name on everybody's lips will be Honorable Olanrewaju Osho, because you have done a bill that will make Nigerian representatives feel the reality of what Nigerians are going through.
Okay. You see, as politicians, there are times we know this is the truth and we are scared because by the time you finish, when they handle you on social media, you're dead. But let's be honest with ourselves. I'm going to take this risk. The fact that I'm a politician does not mean that I don't have a family and I don't have a family life. And I'll use myself as an example. Okay. When I started my family, I was living abroad. I was living in London. Okay. And I started my family in London. I had my kids in London. For me personally, because of my belief in this country, when my kids finished their primary school, I brought them to Nigeria for secondary school. Okay. After the secondary school, they went back. Okay. Now, you can't tell me that because I'm an honorary member, I must bring them back. I didn't take them out when I became an honorary member. We need to differentiate this. If after being elected, and I'll say, oh, my kids are not good for this country, let's them go to London, it's different. It's different matter. But mine started somewhere.
And your medical records are in London, so if you are sick,
everything about them is there.
No, talk about you. So if you
no, mine is there. Mine is there.
You go to
I use lawsuit.
Okay.
Go to lawsuit, you have my record there. I was there 2 weeks ago to go and do my test.
Everywhere now.
Go to lawsuit. I did my full test. I do my test every year.
Honorable,
and the one I did 2 weeks ago, I was in lawsuit for a whole day. I'm not even going to say I'm an honorable member. I followed the process, paid what I should pay.
Okay. Just as our constitution makes it wrong for a person with dual citizenship to run, it can also be extended to those who don't live here. You know why this divided interest is why we're here. It's personal to me. We have this taste, this love for, for everything outside.
Foreign. And
we have the alternatives there. And it's not making us focus fully to grow here. It's a menace for as far as I'm concerned. And I would like you to see it from that seriousness. Yes, some of you live there. You will have a video recently of a Nigerian who went to bake his hair and bailed out on the lady without paying. And everybody in the comment section, say, he has a Yoruba name. Oh my God. Saying, Abego, he's a British. He's not here, So this divideness is really what's the about to low cost in any cost in the...
No, it's not about the cost. You see, I agree with Tope that if, for example, there was a video that went viral about, I think, Ghanaian Minister for Education that was being questioned. I don't know if you saw it. And they asked, where's your children? Is in America, is in this. And this guy said, okay, you are the one making law in charge of education for us. But you think the education here is not good enough for you.
You're not even willing to test it.
That as it may. For me, like I said, when my kids finish their primary school, I brought them here. My son is in law school here. I can ask him to go to law school and do...
He needs law school here. That one is not debated.
So you are saying maintaining the lifestyle, but what about the cases? We've seen situations where it happens now, that once somebody just gets into, becomes a local government chairman and they change their car, their children move abroad, and there's a massive lifestyle change. Yes. So you can say that you were making more money in the private sector, because I've asked you before, but there are many, that's not the same prevalence.
Yeah, but because she has also responded to that, let me just ask this. I just want to know personally if you think if we had a bill like that, that will be enforced, that asked our representatives to go to hospitals here and educate their children here, do you think it will make a difference?
Definitely.
You agree?
Definitely. I agree totally. And I think we're getting to that process now. Nigerians are not sleeping anymore. And if you look at the last election, it will tell you. Beavers. And that's why we're changing the electoral law in the Assembly. We want election to work in Nigeria. 80% of our elections end in court. We want that to stop.
Election is once in 4 years.
Look,
Governance
it's the election,
every day.
It's the election that will lead to governance.
We need people.
It's the people you elect that will govern for 4 years.
At the
So
risk,
if
at
you
the
have
risk
to
of
wrap up.
knowledge, we need people who love this place so much.
Look,
They
everybody
don't
loves,
have that.
bring back their children.
Yes.
Not just yes.
Because
Yes.
if you
know
are
what
willing
I'm
to
saying
make
that?
the
If you can test it, see the governor of Anambra, former governor of Anambra, at the moment he was swearing in fact, not swearing in his successor, he was one leg in at the airport.
The airport, yeah. That's
We
another
can't
thing. Their
continue
mind
like
is- their heart
that.
is
And look
not
at the
here.
state of Anambra until this new governor came in.
Yeah.
The feedback was not good, but he had a life outside the
Outside.
state.
And some of your members too are not even
It's
going
like
to
a
their
father that is not at
constituency as
home.
So
often
what you are
as
saying, because you have to wrap up very soon, is that once I'm entering government, family members,
heart.
I know you're in
It's
London.
all.
Oh, yeah,
You cannot take
everybody
the risk.
come back home.
Yes.
Come back and finish your school here.
or at least him, each member.
Let's not be-
Let's even leave family.
No, family is
Let
important.
Each member use hospitals here and not abroad.
No.
Once you get into
But
power.
it's a conversation
Okay.
another day. We
Yeah.
have to wrap up very soon. But
Thank
there's-
you, Honorable
Your
Funke.
phone has been ringing all day, but I can't let you go without asking this final question. So what to eat today?
not to win here.
Moto Yeni, that one. That's our
I don't know
car.
which
That's the one that you
I
need.
don't
That's
know.
Car
to
that
travel
was-
your
that was-
constituency.
that you need to go. I used to go and
Because the roads are bad.
The roads are bad.
You see-
that big car. You're there, right?
You see, until we begin to investigate the truth.
Okay.
And I want to appeal to journalists.
We are-
I want to appeal,
tell
I want
us.
to
So
appeal
there's a
to-
different story to that.
I want to appeal to you to, when you hear any story, investigate it.
Okay, we're asked.
Because there's no point in rumor out there. When I joined before I joined the National Assembly,
You had
I
your
was told, oh, there's this, their salary is
billion a month.
13,000, their salary is 15 billion, they hand this, they hand that. And don't get to the National Assembly, I was like, excuse me, maybe I should have stayed in Lagos. That's the truth, honestly. Maybe I should have stayed in Lagos.
Because
because-
more juicy.
Not juicy, but
Yeah, he's doing his
when I
work.
was a member of that state assembly, I have a constituency. My local government was divided into two.
Yeah.
My local government was divided into two.
Yeah.
So that means I only take care of half of the local government.
Yeah.
Now you expect me to take care of the
Entire.
whole local government, and I can tell you for free, my salary in the House Assembly is bigger than my salary in the National Assembly.
Only Lagos that.
Hold on. Well, nobody cares. My constituency doesn't care. They don't
Exactly,
care.
they don't know.
They don't know. For them, Honorable Oshun
Yeah, I've gone to
used to
bigger
do this
office.
when he was in state assembly. He must double it. They don't care.
Right.
So basically, it's easy for us to come out here.
Moto.
Look, Moto Ten so
Yes.
if you want to talk about car, there's the official car. I have not collected an official car.
Okay.
I have not collected.
will you
But I
be-
know there will be official car.
Okay.
Eventually.
And the Avenger. But these cars is not in my name. It belongs to National Assembly.
Okay.
You did drop it off at the end.
And I don't want to refer to an issue in Lagos State. If at the end of the term, at the end of your 4 years, is the decision of the National Assembly to either sell or not. They can choose not to sell. We've seen cases where they didn't sell.
Okay.
And you don't have a choice, you must drop it.
So it's not really your car.
So it's not your car, it's an official car that if the Assembly decides that they are not selling,
not
they won't sell and nothing will happen.
Why didn't you collect the one from the last person?
Sorry?
Why didn't you collect the car from the...
The previous person, he dropped his car.
He dropped his car. He didn't drop the car.
The last person that I replaced,
Yes.
I don't know what happened to the car.
We need to know these things.
All right.
I
let's
don't know.
But thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure having you on the show. That is
you.
all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.